We ready yet? Okay. Good morning. As we just notice our breath and kind of sink into our heart space, and just continue with our eyes closed to be in the space of our heart open to the divine. Thank you all for meditating with me today, with us. Have a blessed day.
We're going to start. Good morning, everybody. We have a lot going on today. Can we get some love for Jeremy and the Renegade Monks? Oh, you know, there's a reason I don't wear scarves, because I move around too much and they slip and slide everywhere I go. So, good morning, everybody. I'm Reverend Deanne Morency. I'm the senior minister here today. We have a special Martin Luther King celebration today, so it promises to be a really wonderful service. In your programs, you each got one of the Unity booklets, From Black Church to New Thought. So please take a look at it. It's really wonderful. It was written by a variety of Unity ministers about their experience and how they bring Black Church and Unity together within themselves. So they're still holding on to their culture, to the things that matter to them, and they're also expanding into what this teaching is. I know that the 12 power cards are always a big hit. So we have them as little sets of 12, and they're for sale in the bookstore for $5. So if anybody wants to go pick those up, you can get all of the 12 power affirmation cards in one shot. Oh, hi, everybody. Oh, it's so good to be here with all of you, because this is a community that truly is anchored in love, is anchored in possibility, is anchored in the space, the place where we get to connect from the heart. And I know that that is what this fabulous service is going to be. We have the amazing Dr. Cindy Acker, who's going to be our guest speaker today, and she has brought, there's a lot of special treats that you're in for throughout the service today. So that being said, I'm going to invite Carolyn to come on up. No, I'm inviting Momo and Jeannie to come on up for our opening song.
So we've sung it before, and you know what we do. We breathe, and here we go. Breathing in, breathing out. Let the breath of life flow through me. Love is here, love is now. I am breathing love. Breathing in, breathing out. Let the breath of life flow through me. Joy is here, joy is now. I am breathing joy. Breathing in, breathing out. Let the breath of life flow through me. of life flow through me. Peace is here, peace is now. I am breathing peace.
And so we stay in the sacred container that we're creating, breathing in, breathing out. As we step into the prayer field, I'm going to invite the prayer chaplains to rise. I'm going to invite Wendy Miley to come forward with the prayer box. I'm going to invite the prayer chaplains to encircle this community, and I'm going to invite anyone who identifies themselves as someone who is anchoring consciousness for this planet to feel free to join them. And know that if you're watching at home, that you are held right here with us in this sacred container. So we continue to just quiet the mind. We continue to open the heart. We allow ourselves to feel into the spaciousness that is this place right here, right now. That is love. That is infinite potential. That is freedom. That is this space where we get to say yes to our greatest and highest good, not only for ourselves, but for everyone. Because there is only one life, there is only one breath, there is only one power and one presence. So what happens to anyone, anywhere, is happening to each of us right now. And as we breathe into this space, we just bless each other. We bless this planet. We bless this desire that is our spiritual calling for freedom, for joy, for peace, for connection. We bless the vision that is Martin Luther King and all who hold this high calling, past, present, future. We bless this desire within each of us to allow our divine selves to connect as the truth that we are, regardless of any external signifiers. We imagine and envision a world that is free of racial injustice, a world that is free of discrimination, a world that is free of all that otherness, and that it happens right here. It starts right here in our hearts, in our minds. So in this moment, just releasing whatever that otherness is that you might be carrying, you know what it is. Just let it go in this moment and open into the wholeness that is the very truth of life itself. I know that as we each stand in our spiritual authority, as we each stand in that space, that place, and name and claim justice, and that as we act from that space, that we truly are creating a world that works for everyone. So take this moment together, connect our hearts, see that energy pouring forth around this planet. Seeing what does not serve us falling away. Seeing only that truth of the one life, our divine beingness, and anchoring our capacity to see it in everyone and everything. How grateful I am for this opportunity to anchor truth, to anchor potential, growth, evolution, possibility, even in the face of overwhelming injustice. How grateful I am for this community that is willing to grow and evolve and to say yes. And in gratitude for this and so much more, I release it knowing it truly is done. It is happening right here, right now, and in agreement, I invite you to say with me, and so it is. Amen. Ashe. Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. I'm going to invite Debbie Sweeney to come forward for our inspirational reading.
Good morning, Unity. I will be introducing not an inspirational reading, but an inspiration video. And I ask that you open your minds and hearts and spirits as you view the video. The affirmation today is whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. I am an ally. I claim allyship for peace, equity, and justice. And now for the video.
Even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow,
I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up
And live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slaves owners will be able to sit together at the table of brotherhood.
I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi,
A state sweltering with the heat,
of injustice,
sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that
one day, right there in Alabama,
little black boys and little black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. This is our hope. This is the faith I go back to the mountain with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we'll be able to transform the genuine discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, pray together, to struggle together, go to jail together, to stand up for freedom forever, knowing that we will be free one day. And I say to you today, my friends, let freedom ring from the contiguous hilltops of New Hampshire. Let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York.
let freedom ring from the mighty Alleghenies of Pennsylvania.
Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. Let freedom ring from the Carpathia slopes of California. But not only there, let freedom ring from the Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain in Tennessee. Let freedom ring for every hill and molehill in Mississippi. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. When we let it rain from every village and hamlet, every state and every city,
We will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black man and white man,
Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing, in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last.
free at last.
Thank God Almighty, we're free at last.
Let's say our affirmation together. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. I am an ally. I claim allyship for peace, equity, and justice. And now for James Henry.
Good morning, Unity. Good morning, Unity. Thank you. All right, and we are all part of the welcome team here, yes? Yes, all right. And you know how to do that. Get your extrovert hats on and meet some folks. All right, different ways of connecting. Now, when you're out in the courtyard, we're not going to connect by text, okay? We're going to be in person. But if you want to connect by text when you're away from Unity, you can always, the number's 415-991-7111. And Deanne's on the other end of that text line, and she will respond. In your bulletin, there's a spiritual connection card. And I love that sound for some reason. Sounds like a check. Yes, that's coming up later in the offertory time. All right, so you can use a connection card to connect with, again, Reverend Deanne, any prayer support that you would request. Today's flower sponsor, Melanie Carter. From Melanie to the congregation, I will always love you. And as always, if you want to be a hospitality or flower sponsor, you can always check in with Charcelle. She'll be out in the courtyard. Let's know our vision, mission, and core values together. Our vision, a world spiritually awakened and transformed through realizing our divine potential. And our mission, Unity in Marin, is a loving community dedicated to spiritual growth, inclusivity, and service. We honor and care for ourselves, each other, and the natural world. And our core values, connectivity, inclusivity, authenticity. A full description of those core values is in your bulletin or on our website. And we have a sacred service spotlight.
We had to surprise Debbie because she wouldn't have come if she knew. So come on up here, Debbie. So as many of you know, Debbie has retired, so that is official now. She has lots more free time, but she is still here and she's still serving. Yesterday I texted her, can you do the inspirational reading? Sure. So I just want to honor and bless her for all that she has done for Unity in Marin and for all that I know she will continue to do for this community. So I'm going to invite everybody to stand. We have a blessing that we say. So together we say, Debbie, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ as you. And so it is. And now I'm going to invite the fabulous Deborah Winters to come on up. Can we give Deborah some love, please?
Okay. I think some of you will know this song. And so happy to be here to support Cindy and collaborating with music to just enhance her message and what we've all heard so far. So certainly if you want to sing along, I never mind that. So you just go right ahead. Let us turn our thoughts today to Martin Luther King and recognize that there are ties between us, all men and women living on the earth, ties of hope and love, sister and brotherhood, that we are bound together in our desire to see the world become a place in which our children can grow free and strong. We are bound together by the task that stands before us and the road that lies ahead. Yes, we are bound. We are bound. There is a feeling like the clenching of a fist. There is a hunger in the center of the chest. There is a passage through the darkness and the mist. And though the body sleeps, the heart will never rest. Shed a little light, oh yes, so that we can see just a little light, oh Lord. We want to stand it on up and shed a little light, oh God. Yes, shed a little light on me. Shed a little light, oh Lord, shed it on me. Can't get no light from the dollar bill. Don't give me no love from the TV screen. No, no. When I open my eyes, I want to drink my fill. Oh, the well on a hill. Do you know what I mean? Yes. Now shed a little light, oh, on me. Just a little light on me, Lord. Oh, shed a little light. I want to stand it on up and walk it on down, oh Lord. Shed a little light, shed a little light on me. Woo! Oh, there's a passage, yes, in the darkness. There's a feeling like a clenching of the fist. There is a hunger in the center of the chest. There is a passage through the darkness and the mist. And though the body sleeps, the heart will never rest. Let us turn our hearts today to Martin Luther King and recognize that there are ties between us, all men and women living on this earth, ties of hope and love, of sister and brotherhood.
Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Remember those words of Dr. Martin Luther King? I used to imagine him saying that to the masses, standing somewhere in this great rally and giving out this speech. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And then I found out that it was a letter. That he wrote a letter. He wrote a letter because the stakes were high. The stakes were high in Birmingham, the stakes were high everywhere, and people considered Martin Luther King Jr. an outsider and told him that he had no right to assist with the oppression that was occurring around him. So come with me. It's April 1963. Oh, I need that. Thank you. It's April 1963. The state was Alabama. Two organizations, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference and the Alabama Christian Movement for Human Rights, came together and organized an anti-segregation campaign. The campaign included a number of things: a series of mass meetings, direct actions, lunch counter sit-ins, marches on City Hall, and a boycott of downtown merchants right in the middle of Easter season. During those mass meetings, King Jr. spoke to black and white citizens about his philosophy of nonviolence, and the importance for them to have their own dignity and to recognize oppression against themselves and to speak out against that and to act out against that. And he extended appeals for people to help him in this work. And so day after day, more and more people started to volunteer, and as they did, the lunch counter sit-ins became library sit-ins. And the marches on City Hall became marches at voter registration booths. And hundreds were arrested because people just didn't like that. And one of those people was Martin Luther King Jr. However, there were several white Southern clergymen who were upset not by the injustices that were being done against African American people, but about the fact that they were protesting those injustices. And so together, there were 8 of them, Protestant and Jewish, and they wrote 2 letters that appeared in the newspaper. The first one was called An Appeal for Law and Order and Common Sense, and the second was a letter that was addressed to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. himself. It said,
"We clergymen are among those who, in January, issued an appeal for law and order and common sense in dealing with racial problems in Alabama. However, we are now confronted by a series of demonstrations by some of our Negro citizens, directed and led in part by outsiders. We recognize the natural impatience of people who feel that their hopes are slow in being realized. But we are convinced that these demonstrations are unwise and untimely."
An ally smuggled the newspaper with that letter to Dr. King in his jail cell. The letter made 2 impressive statements. One, that oppressed people needed to just wait. And the second one was that outsiders should not be involved in actions that involve justice. It was that information that upset Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to such an extent that he decided to respond by writing a letter. But remember, he was in jail. There wasn't any paper that was readily available. And so he started to write in the margins of any little piece of paper that showed up or passed by or got smuggled into his jail cell. And then he saved them. He didn't put them under his mattress because they didn't allow him to have a mattress in that jail cell. And so he saved piece by piece by piece, little tiny parts of paper in the corner of his cell so that he could get them smuggled through his attorney to the outside world. How did he get enough paper? Well, people started to pass him little pieces, and his attorney started to put things into his shirt when he would go and visit him, and eventually he got enough pieces of paper that he was able to start to write. And so he did. And he wrote for 5 days, something that ended up, once it was typed up, equaled 21 pieces of typed paper. This gentleman was one of his attorneys, who now lives in San Francisco, Dr. Clarence Jones, and he explains how he got things through.
Have you seen this? And he pulled a copy of a full-page ad from the Birmingham Herald, the local newspaper, where a full-page ad had been run and signed by the principal clergyman. I think there may have been a rabbi who signed it also. This full-page ad had been addressed to him. It said, Dr. King, you're an agitator, you're an outside agitator. You need to get out of town. We have problems here in Birmingham. But we don't, we're working them out. We don't need you to tell us. These things take time, blah, 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 blah. And Martin was just, he was just steaming with this. He says, when you go back out, take these. So I said, what is this? And what he had done, what he had taken the blank spaces of newspapers paper towels, anything that was a blank space, he had started to write a response to the full-page ad. The process was, I could visit him twice a day, and, they knew who I was, the jailers. Amazing, they just had to take my things out in a wallet, but nobody patted me down, So inside, I went into the jail, and inside my shirt, I put a blank white sheets of paper, a yellow sheets of paper. And when I got inside, I would give Martin the blank sheets of paper, and he would continue writing what ultimately became the letter from the Birmingham jail. This happened twice a day for 5 days until a Friday, when I got a call from Harry Belafonte, because I was being besieged by the parents who wanted to know about getting the bail money for the letter. I didn't pay any attention to the letter.
You didn't think it was a big deal.
No, I didn't.
You took it. Your instructions were to take it back to Y.T. Walker.
Y.T. Walker. And have him type it up. I never even looked at it, okay?
That was the beginning of what was called the letter from the Birmingham jail. It was written to give argument as to why oppressed people should not have to wait. And it was also written to clergy and then eventually to the outside world, including us, to show us that when injustice is present, allies cannot and should not ever be outsiders. I can almost hear Martin Luther King reading his letter.
My dear fellow clergymen, while confined here in the Birmingham City Jail, I came across your recent statement calling out present activities unwise and untimely. Seldom, if ever, do I pause to answer criticism of my work and ideas. But since I feel that you are men of good well, men of genuine goodwill. And your criticisms are sincerely set forth. I would like to answer your statement in what I hope will be patient and reasonable terms. I think I should give the reason for my being in Birmingham, since you have been influenced by the argument of outsiders coming in. I have the honor of serving as president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, an organization operating in every southern state with headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia. We have some 85 affiliate organizations all across the South. Several months ago, our local affiliate here in Birmingham invited us to be on call to engage in a nonviolent direct action program, if such were deemed necessary. We readily consented, and when the hour came, we lived up to our promises. So I am here along with several members of my staff because I have basic organizational ties here. Beyond this, I am in Birmingham because injustice is here. Just as the 8th century prophets left their little villages and carried their "Thus saith the Lord" far beyond the boundaries of their hometowns, and just as the Apostle Paul left his little village of Tarsus and carried the gospel of Jesus Christ to practically every hamlet and city of the Greco-Roman world, I too am compelled to carry the gospel of freedom beyond my particular hometown.
So he humbly but clearly explains that he was actually the president of the SCLC, which had chapters in Birmingham and many other cities across the United States. But he begins by teaching these clergy, and now us, about the importance of being a responsive ally. He says, I am here because injustice is here. It was as clear as that. I am here because injustice is here. What are the outworkings of that lesson for us? Can we recognize what is unjust in this world, and can we see it and not avoid it? Martin Luther King said,
Moreover, I am cognizant of the interrelatedness of all communities and states. I cannot sit idly by in Atlanta and not be concerned about what happens in Birmingham. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Never again can we afford to live with the narrow, provincial, outsider agitator idea. Anyone who lives inside the United States can never be considered an outsider anywhere in this country.
So can we rework that old idea that if anyone is experiencing difficulty, they just need to be positive? And we just need to hold them in positivity and that it'll all just go away? Can we recognize that injustice somewhere, somehow, with someone, if that happens, we are with the injustice? If there is injustice somewhere, somehow, with someone, we are with the injustice. We don't close our eyes, we don't ignore it, we don't walk away. And it's not being a retrospective ally. I like calling it that. The ally who is an ally for battles that were already fought. That doesn't count. It's the everyday challenges of the now. there's something that is called far-sighted allyship. You know, farsightedness, those who are farsighted. Farsightedness is a condition in which you can see objects in the distance very clearly, but objects nearby are kind of blurry. Well, Martin Luther King Jr. was saying that we should not misunderstand that for people who are suffering oppression in any form, the issue of oppression is not blurry. It's doggone clear for them. But social justice, farsightedness, is a thing. We can be an ally when it comes to big issues, war, poverty, things that are going on in other countries, but we can blur, we can miss some of the nuances, some of the microaggressions, some of the inappropriate comments. Oh, your wife is a woman? I thought that was a man. We can blur those and not recognize the injustice that is done there. Remember, when you're an ally for someone who is not like you. You're a buddy for somebody who's just like you. But when you have the courage to be an ally, there is something about that person that is not like you that you stand up for. Amen. For someone who is an ally, it's a difference between performative and substantive allyship. It's not about signing a petition. It's not about being angry over the injustice that has been done to someone. It's about doing the work to understand the systems, the challenges that have created the oppression in the first place. It's knowing why you signed. It's knowing the depth of the basis of your anger and the experience of someone who is not like you. It's discovering the underlying power of systemic dynamics, and it's knowing your own dominant identity and how that dominant identity can wield power and how you can use that for justice. It's asking yourself, how do I take up space with my dominant identity? And how can I model what allyship looks like? An ally asks, how do these unjust situations that do not impact me personally impact me personally? Martin Luther King said,
"We know through painful experience that freedom is never voluntary. It is never voluntary given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed. Frankly, I have yet to engage in a direct action movement that was well-timed, according to the timetable of those who have not suffered unduly from the disease of segregation. For years now, the word wait. It rings in the ear of every Negro with a piercing familiarity. This wait has almost always meant never. It has been a tranquilizing thalidomide, relieving the emotional stress for a moment, only to give birth to an ill-formed infant of frustration. We must come to see with the distinguished jurist of yesterday that justice too long delayed is justice denied. We have waited for more than 340 years for our constitutional and God-given rights. The nations of Asia and Africa are moving with jet-like speed towards the goal of political independence. And we still creep at horse and buggy pace toward the gaining of a cup of coffee at a lunch counter. I guess it is easy for those who have never felt the stinging darts of segregation to say wait. But when you have seen vicious mobs lynch your mothers and fathers at will and draw down and drown your sisters and brothers at whim, when you have seen hate-filled policemen curse, kick, brutalize and even kill your black brothers and sisters with impunity. When you see the vast majority of your 20 million Negro brothers smothering in airtight cage of poverty in the midst of an affluent society. When you suddenly find your tongue twisted and your speech stammering as you seek to explain to your 6-year-old daughter why she can't go to the public amusement park that has just been advertised on television, and see the tears welling up in her little eyes when she is told that Funtown is closed to colored children, and see the depressing clouds of inferiority begin to form in her little mental sky, and see her begin to distort her little personality by unconsciously developing a bitterness towards white people. When you have to concoct an answer for a 5-year-old son who is asking in agonizing pathos, "Daddy, why do white people treat colored people so mean?" When you take a cross-country drive and find it necessary to sleep night after night in uncomfortable corners of your automobile because no motel will accept you. When you are humiliated day in and day out, nagging signs reading white men and colored. When your first name becomes nigger and your middle name becomes boy, however old you are. And your last name becomes John. And when your wife and mother are never given the respected title of Mrs. When you are harried by day and haunted by night by the fact that you are a Negro living constantly at tiptoe stance, never quite knowing what to expect next, and plagued with inner fears and outer resentments, when you are forever fighting a degenerating sense of nobodiness, then you will understand why we find it difficult to wait. There comes a time when the cup of endurance runs over and men are no longer willing to be plunged into an abyss of injustice where they experience the bleakness of corroding despair. I hope, sirs, you can understand our legitimate and unavoidable impatience.
Did you hear their experience? I had a hard time even deciding to have Martin Luther King Jr. read that part. But an ally needs to understand. The onus is on the ally to reflect, to have an active way of life that commits to equality and equity and opportunities and inclusion for everyone, especially marginalized communities. Too often, marginalized communities are forced to be in conversations and actions that work for the dominant community, when it's the dominant community that chooses the conversations and has the say. The role of the ally is to step back and to listen to the voices of those who are not in the dominant position. And if they aren't present, to bring those voices in as though they are. In his letter, King Jr. recognized injustice before many of the people of his time, including those 8 clergy who were content with seeing things as the norm, and some people of color who were afraid to speak out or who got used to it being the norm.
You spoke of our activity in Birmingham as extreme. At first, I was rather disappointed that fellow clergymen would see my nonviolent efforts as those of an extremist. I started thinking about the fact that I stand in the middle of two opposing forces in the Negro community. One is a force of a complacency made up of Negroes who, as a result of long years of oppression, have been so completely drained of self-respect and a sense of somebodyness that they have adjusted to segregation. And a few Negroes in the middle class who, because of a degree of academic and economic security, and at points they profit from segregation, have unconsciously become insensitive to the problems of the masses. The other force is one of bitterness and hatred, and comes perilously close to advocating violence. Oppressed people cannot remain oppressed forever. The urge for freedom will eventually come. This is what happened to the American Negro. Something within him has reminded him of his birthright of freedom. Something without has reminded him that he can gain it. Consciously and unconsciously, he has been swept in by what the Germans call the zeitgeist. And with his black brothers of Africa and his brown and yellow brothers of Asia, South America, and the Caribbean, he is moving with a sense of cosmic urgency toward the promised land of racial justice. I have heard numerous religious leaders of the South call upon their worshipers to comply with a desegregation decision because it is the law. But I have longed to hear white ministers say, follow this decree because integration is morally right, and the Negro is your brother. In the midst of blatant injustices inflicted upon the Negro, I have watched white churches stand on the sideline and merely mouth pious irrelevancies and sanctimonious trivialities. Oh, sanctimonious trivialities. So here we are moving toward the exit of the 20th century with a religious community largely adjusted to the status quo, standing as a tail light between other community agencies rather than a headlight, leading men to higher levels of justice. I have traveled the length and breadth of Alabama, Mississippi, and all the other southern states. On sweltering southern summer days and crisp autumn mornings, I have looked at her beautiful churches with their lofty spires pointing heavenward. I have beheld the impressive outlay of her massive religious education buildings. Over and over again, I have found myself asking what kind of people worship here. Who is their God? Where were they? Where were their voices of support when tired, bruised, and weary Negro men and women decided to rise from the dark dungeons of complacency to the bright hills of creative protest?
What kind of people worship here? What kind of people are in community here? I remember last week hearing about strength. I have the strength to accomplish all that is mine to do. Being an ally is ours to do. And it's interesting, as we discussed and claimed the powers last week, I was able to connect every single power to allyship. in one way or another. It just is ours to do. We can't be outsiders. We have the joy, the strength, the courage, the wisdom, the zeal, the faith, the love, the righteously held power, the imagination, the understanding, the life, the faith, the love, the order to release ourselves from the constricting lens of an outsider to the powerful understanding of an ally. So called, so be it. King concludes by saying,
I hope this letter finds you strong in faith. I also hope that circumstances will soon make it possible for me to meet each of you, not as an integrationist or a civil rights leader, but as a fellow clergyman and a Christian brother. Let us all hope that the dark clouds of racial prejudice will soon pass away and the deep fog of misunderstanding will be lifted from our fear-drenched communities. And in some not too distant tomorrow, the radiant stars of love and brotherhood will shine over our great nation with all of their scintillating beauty. Yours for the cause of peace and brotherhood, M.L. King Jr.
So this one letter has penetrated all around the world and within every one of us. It's our work to do. Let's say our affirmation. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. I am an ally. I claim allyship for peace, equity, and justice. Amen.
Amen. Wow, thank you. That was brilliant. Ready? Oh, Paul's not ready. It's all right. It's okay.
Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more backward thinking, time for thinking instead. The world has changed so very much from what it used to be. There is so much hatred, war, and poverty. Wake up, all the teachers, time to teach a new way. maybe then they'll listen to what you have to say. 'Cause there's the one who's coming up, and the world is in their hands. When you teach the children, teach them the very best you can. Oh, the world won't get no better if we just let it be. No, the world won't get no better. We gotta change it now, just you and me. Yeah. Wake up all the doctors, make the old people well. They're the ones who suffer and who catch all the hell. But they don't have so very long before the judgment day. So won't you make them happy before they pass away? And wake up all the builders, time to build a new land. I know we can do it if we all lend a hand. The only thing we have to do is put it in our minds. Surely things will work out, they do it every time. Here we go! The world won't get no better if we just let it be. No, no, no. The world won't get no better. We gotta change it now, yes, you and me. Oh, the world won't get no better. Sing with me. If we just let it be. No, no. The world won't get no better. We gotta change it now, just you and me. Yeah, we gotta change it now, just you and me. Oh, we gotta change it now. Gotta spread a love around, 'cause the world won't get no better. No, 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 no. Oh, we gotta change it now. Yes, we gotta change it now. Just you and me. Just you and me.
Thank you, Deborah, Jeremy, and the Renegade Monks. Woo. Thank you, Dr. Cindy Acker. Very powerful. All right, it is time for giving and receiving. The ushers are going to be coming around shortly, but first I want to invite our board treasurer, Nancy Foster, to come up.
Thank you, James, and good morning, Unity community. So I'm here to do, not just to talk about faith in action, but to give you a report on the board. We just had a meeting on Thursday, and the main function of the board is to oversee and to steward the financial health of this community. And so we started, our chair, Lynn Forsey, had us start with a spiritual practice on reflecting on how each of us have felt our own abundance in the last few days. And it was really, really powerful to think about, just in small ways, how abundance is everywhere for us to experience. And this is what we hold for this community, that this community is abundant as well. And so the first thing we looked at was our faith in action. And the numbers should be up there. And so I just want to say this is the last Sunday that we're going to be talking about 2024 Faith in Action. We are complete, although that doesn't mean that if you haven't done a pledge yet and you want to, you can still do it. And I've also had people approach me and say, oh, my pledge was rolled over, but I wanted to increase it this year. Can I do that? And yes, you can. And if you need some help to do that, you can come out to the board table. I'll be out there and hopefully some other board members to help you do that. So, today we've done a little bit better than last year. So we've got pledges of $277,114. And we have I think last year we had 135 participants. This year we have 136 participants. But that means that this is a really steady community, and that the board can rely on these funds when we're setting our budget. And I just want to say, this is wonderful for this year. And last year, we collected 98% of all the pledges that were pledged. That is incredible, just amazing. So that just shows me the commitment and dedication of this community. And the board is so grateful, and pat yourselves on the back and be grateful for yourself and everyone else in this community. We have approved a budget for 2024 with a few tweaks, and we still have a gap of $67,000. And so we don't just sit and hope it comes through. The board, the board is has decided that, of course, we do have to do fundraisers. We're going to do 2 fundraisers, one in the spring, and it'll be around our 60th anniversary here at Unity in Marin. And we're going to, and then we're also going to have a fall fundraiser. I don't know if I can, we're going to kind of expand the nativity into a fair, inviting the outside community and having vendors, and it's going to be a weekend. So we're hoping that that will also help, and we're going to need a lot of volunteers to help with that. And so, because we'll be selling stuff too, we might need people to bake and whatever. So, that's, and then, it's important. We went over the whole year. I mean, Reverend Deanne has planned out the whole year. We know exactly what we're doing and when, and it is full, and it is exciting and wonderful. And we don't want to cut back on that program. That's why we're gonna be fundraising as best we can. So, and then the final thing we talked about is membership renewals. You've been hearing about this. I just want to let you know that anybody that we don't have a record of having renewed, the board is going to be calling you, and all you have to do is just say, yes, I want to be renewed, and we'll just make sure you're renewed. So that's coming. So I just want to say thank you all for your generosity and steadfastness. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. And ways to give on your phone, Church Center app. It's very easy to do. If you are live streaming, there's a QR code right on the screen. You can use that. There's a giving envelope in your bulletin, and you can always, do that. Write a check, put it in the mail. You can even drop it in the office. And I'd like to invite Deborah back up.
And
the ushers can come forward. I always forget that.
Let's fill up those baskets, people. Come on. Oh, let's see. Yeah.
There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people dying, and it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. We can't go on pretending day by day that someone somewhere will soon make a change. We are all a part of God's great big family, and the truth, you know, is love is all we need. We are the world, we are the children, we are the ones who make a brighter day, so let's start giving. There's a choice we're making, we're saving our own lives. It's true, we'll make a better day, just you and me. Send them your heart, so they'll know that someone cares, as their lives will be stronger and free, as God has shown us by turning stone to bread. So we all must lend a helping hand. We are the world, we are the children, we are the ones who make a brighter day, so let's start giving. There's a choice we're making, we're saving our own lives. It's true, we'll make a better day, just you and me. When you're down and out and there seems no hope at all, but if you just believe, there's no way we can fall. Well, let us realize that change will only come when we stand together as one. We are the world, come on, sing with me. We are the children, we are the ones who make a brighter day, so let's start giving. There's a choice we're making, we're saving our own lives. It's true, we'll make a better day, just you and me. We are the world, we are the children, we are the ones who make a brighter day, so let's start giving. There's a choice we're making as we're saving our own lives. It's true, we'll make a better day, just you and me. It's true, we'll make a better day, just you and me. It's true, we'll make a better day, just you and me.
So great to see you all stand up and sing together on that, so thank you. Woo.
Thank you again, Deborah, Jeremy, and the Renegade Monks. Yes, we are the world, and we are the children. Membership renewal, Nancy mentioned it earlier. Don't make us call you. Right? Right. Unity and Marin Support Circle, facilitated by Barbara Cochran every first and third Sunday. Then today at 12:30, we'll have Melanie Carter's Celebration of Life. Please join us. It will be live streamed. It's the same link as you're watching now, if you're at home. Then we have an upcoming guest speaker, Dr. Ali Matu. Reverend Deanne met him at the Berkeley TEDx talk, and we look forward to hearing his talk. And then there will be a 6-week winter book study starting February 4th through March 10th. Discover Your Divinity. And I can't read the subtitle of the book, but I know there is a Modern Guide to Affirmative Prayer by no other than our Reverend Deanne. So get registered. It's a great way to connect with the rest of the community. All right, and then on February 14th, that's Valentine's Day, yes? And Ash Wednesday. All right, we have a double header, Power of Release, a Unity Ash Wednesday service. It's at 5 o'clock. Then that evening, there's a Wednesday concert series with Antonio Aversano at 7 o'clock. So do join in both of those. All right, no parking at the fire zone. So there is the fire zone. It's the red, on the curb, it's painted red, okay? Several years ago, I parked in a red zone. It was like maybe 3 minutes in front of an ATM. I got a ticket. There's going to be additional spaces designated for disabled parking. So there's plenty of parking. Do not park in the red zone. Can you repeat after me? I will not park in the red zone. All right? All right. Can I have the Unity and Marin prayer chaplains rise? They're wearing a white stole, and after service, you can always just tap one on the shoulder, and they'll be happy to sit with you, pray with you. And we send our prayers to one of our prayer chaplains, Claire, who's recovering from a broken leg. Then we have, Debbie hobbling around on that foot. What's happening here? All right, let's welcome our youth and family. Gotta love it. Wow.
Growing in age as well as growing in terms of the number of youth that are with us. So you can tell us what's happening, Lissa?
Yeah, well, first of all, as you can see, this is a work in progress. And Elliot did some of the paper mache on it today. We started paper mache today. And Jade is making a bearded dragon. And Grace is making a
Silk-winged dragon.
From Harry Potter? Wings of Fire, okay. So, all right, so it's a work in progress, paper mache. And our YOU is starting. We're starting a new YOU group. I'm so excited about it. It's starting February 4th. And we have 4 participants so far, so spread the word. If you have anyone interested, teens are all welcome. And we're going to have Cindy, the marvelous Cindy Hall. Where are you? Cindy Hall in the back, who has been our experienced, amazing YOU leader, and Peter Abowd, there he is, okay? They're going to be our leaders. So we look forward to that. There'll be more announcements about that.
So we have a blessing that we do for the youth that are here. I invite everybody to stand. It's also for the youth that are everywhere in the world. Can we feel that? Right? Our allyship for all children everywhere. And I'm going to invite us to open our hands and our hearts and say this together. You are the perfect expression of divine light. We love you exactly the way you are. And so it is. Before we jump into our prayer of protection, we added this. I just want to make sure everyone kind of hears this. So Cindy, the fabulous Dr. Cindy Acker, as always, who inspires me on a daily basis, talked about our prayer of protection and how we physically would go, the power of God protects us. And what she said is instead, she opens her hands because the power of God is us being in service. Yes? So we're changing what we do when we do our hand motions for the prayer of protection. So this is now the power of God protects. Okay? All right. God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us.
I am the power of God. In the presence of God who watches over us, I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is. And we have a community song. With Jeannie and Momo.
I feel the new year down in my soul. I feel the new